Greetings everyone and welcome to the Occult Think Tank. My name is Greg. In this video I'm going to be diverting a little bit from what I usually do and covering commentary that was on Fox News about some stupid Jesus Super Bowl commercial ads. Here is the basis of that to kick this off.
It's backed by a nonprofit group that bills itself as aiming to reintroduce people to the Jesus of the Bible. Ads like this one will air during the big game. Watch.
I'll prepare a feast and bring them together, he thought. But some refused to join him. He was heartbroken because he wanted everyone to be filled, not with food and wine, but with compassion.
But just saying the word Jesus is riling up some people on social media. One person tweeting, "Glad I'm an atheist." Others calling the ads cringe personified, and are using religious freedom as an excuse to hate and discriminate.
The ad they played in that segment didn't mention Jesus at all, which led me to be, okay, there's something they're not telling people in this Fox News program. So I found what is the basis of this "he gets us" crap, and why it is a bullshit movement. Here is that.
When something big is happening, a movement, a moment, a mission that could change the world, you want to be ready. You want to learn everything you can. And right now, something big is happening. He Gets Us is a multi-year national campaign to raise the respect and relevance of Jesus in our culture. It's starting conversations, it's grabbing attention and changing minds. It's all over Twitter, in Times Square, on billboards and in stadiums. And on February 12th, you'll see it on the biggest stage in America. You'll see Jesus in the Super Bowl. The conversation is starting. Are you ready for it?
Alright, it's time for me to pull back the curtain on these Christian evangelists and reveal this emperor has no clothes either. To act as if the conversation about Jesus is in some way a new event or movement is laughably absurd. However, I don't think this is really about getting a conversation started, but preaching their distorted hippie Jesus nonsense and ignoring what is actually in the Bible from this fucking Jesus. If anyone behind this "he gets us" bullshit wants to have a conversation with me, or any Christian for that matter, okay, fine, let's talk. But I don't think they would like the truth bombs that I would drop on them with book, chapter, and verse. Could they do the same and not be lying? I honestly doubt it.
Chris, there certainly was a backlash that we've seen on social media. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think this is symbolic of probably, arguably, the greatest cultural erosion in the history of our country. I feel like when you look at the numbers, we just dropped below 50% for the first time in terms of Americans' membership in houses of worship. Culture is eroding in this country. Culture is beliefs influencing beliefs, and beliefs come from values. Values come from character, and character comes from leadership. I've got 7 and 10-year-old boys. I choose to lead them to help shape their character and know that there is a God who loves them, that love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, faithfulness, these are good things. And guess what? Those are things that Jesus did put out.
Personally, I find it refreshing to hear the church attendance is down near 50%. That tells me we are halfway to having a successful country of people that think for themselves, or at the very least, aren't being bullied into mouthing words of belief to try and avoid some sadistic afterlife. I would wonder how many of that 50% are people that are more afraid of what this Jesus will do to them if they don't mouth words of belief. A fact that I would consider far more revealing about Jesus' character than any amount of bullshit people want to make up. The idea that love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, faithfulness came from Jesus is laughably absurd. Sure, you can cherry-pick places where Jesus mentioned love, joy, and peace, but only 4 places where patience is mentioned. Half of those were about a servant paying what they owe. However, what I think is far more telling about his character is Luke 14:26. If any man come to me and hate not his father, mother, wife, children, brethren, sisters, yea, his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. That says volumes about Jesus' character. However, Jesus never mentioned kindness, gentleness, self-control, faithfulness, which means half of the list he rattled off, Jesus never said anything about. Which is exactly my point with Christians and this great big hippie Jesus garbage. Those that spout off this crap actually never read the Bible, so they don't know what is actually in it. At most, they would be what I call pew-warming Christians. Those are the Christians that warm a pew once a week but never bother to crack the book during the week.
This country actually does need to find Jesus. The hate in this country is just so awful. I mean, it's at really honestly a most all-time high, the extreme left and the extreme right, and I'm not talking about one side or the other, because anytime that I meet someone who's politically extreme or an extremist, that does derive from a place of hate. Jesus teaches us to love thy neighbor, to love one another, and so I do believe that this country needs to find Jesus. And
I've already shown Luke 14:26, but I will show it again just because you Christians clearly need me to rub your nose in how Jesus said you must hate everyone, including your children and yourself, or you aren't worthy of being his disciple. This is a vastly different message than the hippie Jesus character that Christians like to push, as if that character was ever really in the Bible. It wasn't. But most are simply too much of stupid sheep going along with the bullshit they are told and not actually looking at this crap to see if what they're being told is actually written. Christians don't give a goddamn what is written. They will ignore context when it suits them, but jump up and down screaming something is out of context when it's something that opposes the narrative that they have bought into. Even though I am an atheist, politically I am conservative. I am conservative for the simple fact that liberals have lost their goddamn mind. Back in the 90s, the big thing was homosexuals wanting equal rights. The big talking point was gay marriage. There was also the case of Matthew Shepard, who was beaten to death by Christians just because he was gay. Christians were very much opposed to homosexuals having equal rights as heterosexuals, but that movement was taken over by people that clearly suffer from mental illnesses. For fuck's sake! About 12 years ago on my Pastor Iblis account, I did a 2-part video on pedophiles. Fast forward to today, pedophiles are now being called minor attracted persons. And these lunatics are also pushing gender identity and sexual orientation on children, even advocating for gender reassignment surgery to children. To say liberals haven't lost their goddamn mind is to be putting your head in the sand and act like this batshit crazy crap isn't going on. It pisses me off that I have to side with the religious simply because I feel children should be left to be children. But given the current issues in society, liberals have given me no other choice. There is no chance in hell that I would support the abuse of children any more than I would support the belief in a sadistic sky fairy.
And I think that this country is also very anti-American. So why would they not be anti-God? Because in the Pledge of Allegiance, we pledge allegiance to the flag. We also pledge allegiance to our God. And I don't care if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, it doesn't matter. People do need God in their life.
The level of sheer ignorance and stupidity from the religious never ceases to fucking amaze me. And while she's not coming right out and saying atheists are unpatriotic, it is strongly implied because she's completely ignoring them as if they don't even exist, or that atheists can't be veterans, and to say that under God is in the pledge. Only since 1954, what you're seeing now is the official versions and when they were changed, and you will notice at the bottom, 1954 to present, under God was added. This is just sheer stupid. But what do you expect from the religious?
But why is it when we watched one of the commercials that were part of that campaign, it speaks to such fundamental and beautiful concepts again? Why is that vitriol? Where does it come from?
That shows you that it's a real threat. Like it's much better to have people hateful and divided. And it's much easier in terms of religious faith, particularly Christianity, to paint people as simpletons who, just worship an old guy in the clouds, and develop this straw man. But, if you're encouraging people to think about things like unconditional love and compassion and...
All right, there are two main points that I want to address in this. The first is the aspect of division. People are divided because of the media. The media has set shit up for a long time, pitting one side against the other. The thing is, what is behind the media is the government. And religion does fall under this as well, because religion is a tool of the government. It's probably why religion gets a tax break. The 501c3, I think it is. The religious exemption on taxes. Follow the money. Why would the government give religion a tax-exempt status? What monetary gain is there for the government? The reason is control. Here is a quote. Religion is regarded by the common people as true, by the wise as false, by the rulers as useful. That's why religion gets a tax break. That, in a nutshell, is why. Because religion instills this idea that you have to bow down to, boot on your neck, control from a God. That God can do what God wants because God is God. Well, the one that wants to play God in our world is the government. The government can do what the government wants because the government is the government. It's the same type of idea. It's equal bullshit, but it's the same idea. The thing is, religion likes to toss around a lot of bullshit, like God loves unconditionally. Christians love that bullshit because they know people don't think. They don't look at something and go, wait a minute, is that true? They just, oh yeah, it's unconditional, and they just bah, bah, bah. The problem is, the most quoted verse in the Bible, John 3:16, whosoever believeth, that's a condition. You're making what someone believes the condition by which the cherry, the prize, whatever you want to hold over their head, you won't get the goodie if you don't do what I tell you. It's all conditional. If you want to say it's unconditional, you have to remove the condition and really make it, to use the term, a free gift. Because then if it's something that is free, there's no threat to you if you don't take it. You can't threaten somebody with basically even a proverbial gun to their head and say, do what I say or else. That's a condition. That's also blackmail, extortion. But that's how Christianity operates. That's the way Jesus operates. The mob boss mentality. The do what I want or I'll break your fucking knees. It is evil. The biggest thing for me is wake up. Feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Talk to you later, people.